One question I am getting more and more on Discord, Instagram, YouTube, all of the social media is, Yammy Noob, I never see you ride with a group. What is up with that? Why don't you do group rides? Why don't you organize more group rides? Why are you so antisocial? Why don't you want to ride in groups? And I actually have a very good reason why I don't want to ride in a group. And it might not be the one you think. I have found that every time I've ridden in a group, if I'm organizing the ride, that sort of thing, somebody gets hurt, man. Especially really big group rides. I'm talking like 20 people, 15 people, like a solid posse of riders. Somebody seemingly always rides beyond their skill sets. Somebody always seems to make a mistake where they wouldn't have normally made a mistake. And I personally don't really like riding with people I don't know very well. And I don't want that to sound like just because I don't know you very well, I don't want to ride with you. I'm sure you're a lovely person. You ride motorcycles. I think we're great. I think we could be buddies. But I'm more than happy to do a more like bike night meetup where people come, they park their bikes, we talk about them, and all that stuff. Because then I can actually get to know people and talk to them a little bit better, which is fun. I find that when you're on a group ride, you can't even really talk to people, and people's egos start to really build up, especially those in the sport bike community. You know, sport bike guys always want to pretend like they're faster than everybody else, and you know, it even happens at track days too, and racing. Racing, it makes sense. You're there to prove a point, to prove that you are faster than other people. That's fine. But it's not the right place on the street, and that attitude permeates into the group riding stuff. So I am highly, highly selective about who I ride with. You know, very recently, Brandon and I were out on a ride on this exact road, and there was a gentleman by the name of Nigel who was on a ZX4RR who was with us at the gas station, and I don't know why, I just kind of thought he was a cool dude, and I was kind of in the moment. I was like, hey man, you want to roll with us? Like, we're just going to go back that same way. You know, and I felt so bad because he actually crashed on that ride trying to keep up with us. But we weren't trying to push the pace, and then I remembered, like, oh yeah, like, I don't know Nigel, you know, like, I don't know what his skill set is. I just met this guy. You know, maybe I should have let him lead, but I just don't like introducing all those variables to my motorcycling. I ride a motorcycle to be zen, to do my own thing, to set my own schedule, to get away from everybody. And I know that for a lot of people it's a very social activity, but for me, it's a way that I can be solo and to collect my thoughts and to think about stuff and to, you know, just enjoy the scenery or get better at something. You know, like, track days are fun if you're with your buddies and you're cutting up some laps together, but at the same time, I go to them to just try to learn and evaluate and adapt for my riding. Riding is a very, very personal thing to me. I don't really do it for social reasons, which is funny because I'm one of the biggest motorcycle YouTube channels online, and we have like our super social Discord server and all that stuff. But I think talking about motorcycling is one thing for me. I really love talking about bikes and discussing them with people, but riding them with people presents enormous responsibility and risk to me. I just think it's ultimately quite a risky thing to go out with a huge group because you just don't know people's skill sets. I really prefer riding alone. I think it really has a lot of advantages over disadvantages than riding with a group. For example, if you're riding alone, you can choose to, whenever you want, you're like, oh man, I gotta go pee, right? I gotta go to the bathroom. And you just, whenever you want, you just pull over, go to the bathroom, you tell yourself, oh, I want to change the route because I want to get back home an hour later or an hour earlier, you know, blah, blah, blah. You can just change the route. You don't have to like alert the other riders of what you're trying to do. I find it's much more freeing to just be on the bike and to just do your own thing and to set your own schedule with it. I also really like that when you ride alone, you can, you know, like, just pick up your bike and if you have the time, go and take it for a ride, you know, whatever your schedule is. If you're, you know, maybe you have odd hours for your work, you just go out for a ride, maybe at 3 in the afternoon because you have a shift at night or something like that. You know, it allows you to set your own pace and your own schedule with it, which is really nice. And to me, that's preferred, man. I really prefer to be in a situation where I can set my own schedule, my own pace with my riding. Because especially where people try to keep up with you on roads like this, it just really skeezes me out. And the one thing I cannot stand I really don't like this, and I don't like when people do it, is when people try to chase you down on roads like this and you have no idea who they are. Guys, that is so not cool to do. I don't know about you. I personally really don't like that. I don't like when riders come right up my butt and try to like pass me or try to like race me on these roads. I am not out here trying to race anybody. That's not why I'm out riding my motorcycle on public roads. I'm not out here trying to race you. I'm completely disinterested in that. And you know, I think for some people, they don't really understand that. They want to go out and like play, but to me, I'm not playing when I'm on my bike. This is not a toy. I'm out here trying to be zen, trying to be myself. But of course, there are disadvantages to riding by yourself, you know? For example, if you are doing a big adventure ride, you're going out in remote locations, I would definitely bring a buddy with me. I tend to take way less risk if I'm out in the middle of nowhere riding by myself than I would if I was riding with a big group, right? Because then if something happens to you, you can always phone for help, or your buddy can phone for help, and you can more quickly be attended to, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, that would be super scary if something happens to you and you've got no one around to call for help. So obviously riding in a group can be really good, because if you get yourself hurt, you know, your buddy can come back for you, get yourself sorted up. Like, for example, weirdly enough, I think Nigel crashed somewhere right around here, if memory serves me correctly. And because Brandon and I were with him, we were able to assess the situation, make sure he was okay. I was able to go back and get my truck. He didn't have to call a tow truck. So funny enough, because he crashed with the group, he ended up saving quite a bit of money, because we were able to help him out, you know, get his bike back to his place and get him all sorted. You know, he had a bad day for sure, but it could have been a lot worse if he was by himself. So I think that's pretty cool. If you're riding with a group, you have that support system while discussing things that are more nuanced on YouTube, right? Like, but I wouldn't recommend, if you've never been down a certain road, to be on the comms with your buddies and to be doing all this stuff, because that's a lot of information overload, you know? Like, for example, right here, if you were talking to your buddy and you didn't see that the corner was coming up, you'd be off in that bush over there. And sure, your buddy would be able to help you on the group ride, but I think it's better to not crash in general, right? Let's not have motorcycle crashes. That would be better for everybody. So yeah, there's less chances for distraction when you're riding by yourself, but you can obviously still get distracted when you ride by yourself. But I think there's less ego. There's less opportunity for you to be talking on cardos and having fun with your buddies and goofing around. There's less showing off too. I think that's a big reason why people end up crashing and having silly stuff happen on their bikes, is they're trying to show off in the group ride, show everybody who's fast. I've seen people loop out on group rides doing wheelies and stuff. Like, and honest to God, there's been so many rides I've done in a group that ultimately led me to think, like, man, this was really not the funnest idea. This was really not something that I had a lot of fun doing, because I really felt like I had to babysit people. And again, for me, I like riding to enjoy myself. I like riding to decompress a little bit. And babysitting somebody while they're riding is not really my idea of fun. Now again, a group environment can make something less intimidating, and you can share information and more rapidly advance in your riding as well too, you know, as long as you do so safely. For example, if you go to a track day and you're just there by yourself, and sure, there's like the school component and there's, you know, people like that, but you know, having someone to directly compare against that's similar in skills to you can make you evolve faster than you would if you were just on your own. The same goes if you had a coach or somebody helping you or somebody dialing you in of how you're going to get better. The same can be said for road riding, right? If you've got a great mentor, you know, maybe an old road dog at the head of your group ride that's, you know, into the whole thing and loves the community and wants to show people the best way to do stuff, that could be a lot of fun, right? That could be really great for you as an entry-level rider to go out there and enjoy group riding. I'm at the point with my riding where it's not to say that I don't need any more improvements on road, but I've established a pretty darn good skill set, and at this point it's just fine-tuned refinements and just practicing those good habits. I don't think I'd learn anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking from riding with somebody on the road. I kind of know everything about this and just need to refine those skills, so to speak, right? But yeah, it ultimately comes down to the fact that I really try to keep you guys safe, and organizing a big group ride here in Austin, I think, would lead to people not being so safe. And I personally think that like 2 or 3 guys, including you, like 4 men tops, is the best size for a group ride. I really think that like the 10 to 15 to 20 rider group rides, what is the point, you know? Like, the speeds naturally have to come down because there's so many of you. You take up so much space in traffic because everybody's weaving and doing crazy stuff. Sometimes you get those big rallies where people will go and, you know, be like 50 deep. But to me, that's just kind of boring because then it's just like a parade lap between all these riders, you know, stuff like the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which, you know, it's for a good cause and I really appreciate it. But I think that the amount of riders in a group like that just really lends itself to a bit of chaos and calamity. So yeah, while I think group riding can be an awesome activity, it can be a ton of fun, you can learn a lot, you can, you know, practice the more social side of motorcycling, I genuinely think for your first like year of riding, you have to be super selective about who you're riding with. Meeting up with random groups can be pretty cool. You can make new friends and, you know, start hanging out with people, but really keep in mind who you're hanging out with and how they ride and if it aligns with the goals that you have for yourself. You know, if you're riding with a group and they are, you know, way too fast and doing crazy squid stuff and wheeling everywhere and you just don't feel comfortable doing that, there's no shame in just dropping out of the group, man. You got to find your people, find your space, find your group that makes sense for you if that's what you want to do. And maybe you're more like me, maybe you're more of a solo rider, and that's cool too because there's a lot of advantages to it, you know. I used to ride in groups when I was younger. I thought it was a ton of fun. I ultimately decided that the risk factor wasn't really for me and I'd have more fun, you know, doing my own thing, so to speak. So yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up for today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about group riding, what you think about riding in a bigger group. Is it something that is worth it to you? Is it something that you feel like you would want to do? What do you think about me not riding in groups? Let me know that down below too. If you think I'm just an antisocial D-bag who doesn't have any friends, you can tell me that too. I'm not sure I can argue with you there because I am quite antisocial. But yeah, I think I try to be as safe as possible when it comes to this stuff. And sometimes that just doesn't align with group riding. So folks, I hope you had a ton of fun today. Hope you enjoyed today's video and answered your question on why I don't do group rides. And yeah, I appreciate you spending some time with me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Oh, I love being here inside of the warm embryonic fluid of Valentino Rossi. Me and him just sharing foods together. Maybe he's gonna eat some pizza or some pasta here in the hills of Tavullia. But you know where else it's nice and warm and cozy is this next episode of Yami Noob. You can click on right over here. I'd love for you to watch it. But anyways, I'm gonna stay here hanging out. Me and him might go onto the track later, but I'll catch you guys later.